welcome in to the Collegiate Star League. My name is Mad Magical. I'm joined in by Return, and this is going to be our coverage of the JV matches. We get to watch Robert Morris University taking on Johns Hopkins University in the round of 8 now. We've gotten pretty far into the tournament.
Oh yeah, we have been through the entire season, the regular stages, all the stages before of the playoffs, but this is the one that could be the most impactful, given that all the Final Four will be making their way to Huntington Beach for our live finals for the CSL JV squads, but you got to win this game to get there first.
Exactly, and this is where it's going to be the make or break. You got to take down your opponents, and so far there's been both teams, they might have had only one loss in the pool play, but they've been dominating so far in their run in playoffs. I think only one game has been dropped by either of these two teams. And that was actually coming out of Johns Hopkins against UBC in the round of 128, so a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, the UBC squad is still nothing to take lightly, but the fact that they were able to knock down UBC in week number 1 of the playoffs, still a pretty good feat and a great way to start off that playoff run. But yes, you are certainly correct that both these teams have been making outstanding playoff runs this entire time, and Robert Morris being completely unscathed this entire run.
Exactly. So it's going to be a huge thing for both teams to step up. I mean, we even had like the quote coming in from the coach where it's like they practice every week. This is now a second chance after losing during half 2 years ago. They really want to prove themselves here in this tournament.
Exactly, but John Hopkins, they haven't gotten to play one of these live tournaments before. They want to go, and this is going to be the perfect time to, but they got to go through the powerhouse that are RMU as we do get into pick and bans for game number 1 of what should be, I believe, a best-of-3 match. Winner goes on to the finals. Well, exactly. Final event. Winner goes on to the semifinals.
I was about to say, it goes on to the final event. That would be really impressive if you
goes on to a beach somewhere.
Straight to the finals. Hey, you got to go out into Huntington Beach. It's a nice area up there. I've been there several times. But honestly, here, Return, should we expect a lot more meta bans coming in, or should we expect them to try to really hit onto the comfort? This is the JV level after all.
That is definitely the big question about the JV scene. You do have some of those teams that really focus very hard on their 1 to 2 trick players. They like to get them onto something very comfortable and then really play around that. Thankfully, with the average elo being that kind of mid to low diamond into even the high platinum range, that does open up a lot more options. But main thing for me has to be Robert Morris University, especially at the varsity level, are very well known for how coordinated they are in their play and how much they love to play around the meta. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that rub off already on the RMU JV squad. And the Morgana already banned away half of the Morgana Caitlyn absolute domination lane that we saw earlier on in the day.
Exactly, and considered the strongest duo in the bot lane, even stronger than the Zaya Rakan duo that used to dominate for such a long time. Seriously? Really interesting looking at this. Seriously? A lot of support bans coming in from both sides, but it seems for Johns Hopkins, it's a lot more about banning away what they consider the meta, as opposed to RMU trying to hit towards probably more of these comfort picks.
Well, that does seem to be the case, and yeah, these bans do start come back just a little bit further now from RMU. J4 not really in the top tier junglers as of late. The J4 and Sejuani have really fallen off, and you're seeing a new resurgence of the Skarner, of the even the Trundle, of the Olaf, all these beefier kind style junglers that like to get in there and really start facilitating some plays towards the mid to late game. But definitely very important to know your opponent. If there's a J4 main on the other team, you got to knock him down.
Look at that. Jarvan getting locked in Trundle getting locked in pretty quick after they ban away the Jarvan. Still the flexibility, can go top lane, but with how he's been in the meta, he's been so powerful in that mid lane. And Swain left open as well. Could be a vital pickup for RMU if it's not grabbed by Johns Hopkins.
Not only the Swain, but also the new Irelia is on the board. Haven't seen it too much yet in competitive just because of how new it is. And that's certainly a pick that if you have potentially enemy hypercarriers you're trying to shut down, pop down the ultimate, it basically disarms them if they try to run away. It's incredibly strong for facilitating some of these early game fights while still being a great split pushing possibility and potential. So I want to see if either team is adapted to the point where they're ready to pull that one out. But we start to get to game number 2, people start to get their back against a wall, great picks start to come out.
And we saw that earlier today from Georgia College. Unfortunately, didn't have the best of performance.
Oof.
Wasn't able to kind of scale up into the later stages of the game. Karma, gonna be the next pickup possibly going to be going into the mid lane or to the bot lane to answer this Braum pickup. And Gangplank, something we didn't really get to talk about too much either, drafted very early into the composition.
Gangplank is still, I wouldn't call it a very good early rotation like this. It's great to know what you're actually going to be up against in that top lane. But if you're against somebody who's unable to shut you down that hard early, something like one of the tanks, like the Scion, like the Cho'Gath, you are very happy just staying alive in that top lane, scaling up and being the 30 to 40 minute menace that is a late game Gangplank. But looking at this bot lane, there is a potential for this to be a Kai'Sa plus a Karma bot lane. We definitely have seen Karma go over to the middle lane as well. But already into the Braum matchup, Braum is someone who's not able to facilitate that much in the early game and does get very hard abused by the ranged matchup. So I would not be shocked to see Karma headed down towards that bottom side, really take advantage of the melee into ranged support matchup.
And it still surprises me. No Swain touched by either team just yet, and he's been considered so dominating in the meta. Despite getting the small little bit of a nerf to his Q damage before, he's still considered so vital and so powerful. I really do expect that to come in most likely from RMU, since that has been left open with Vladimir and Gangplank already showing for John's Hopkins. Kind of indicates that they already know where a lot of their priority lies, and Kai'Sa Karma lane is going to be so powerful that there's just so much of this raw damage from RMU already in their draft.
Yeah, but here's the thing that really starts to stick out to me about the Kai'Sa pick, is that it has one of the shortest ranges of the game. Sure, on the last patch, it did receive a 25 range buff. It's still not even a medium range. It's definitely more towards the bottom side. But that means if you get into a matchup versus a Caitlyn versus a Jhin, two things that are still in the meta and on the board, even an Ashe too. But if you get into any kind of abusive ADC matchup, you can be put down very far behind, not given the chance to be that anti-ADC backline diver that you always want to be on the Kai'Sa. And that might be something not even Karma's going to be able to make up for. But the fact that they're saving the ADC pick on the side of John Hopkins till the very end does definitely catch me as a little bit strange, but maybe they're going to be pulling something out nice and spicy like.
Look, that Fizz has been locked in. Pretty much tells us that Karma is going to go into the bot lane, so a lot of power, a lot of range coming in. And you talked about Kai'Sa not having that. Well, it's going to be made up for the fact that a lot of poke will be coming in from Sonotic onto this Karma, trying to force out average Xayah and win rate as much as possible with the mantra Qs early on. The last pickup does look like it's going to be that Swain.
And that mostly will be moving it to the top lane, even though technically there are 4 members of this team that could be flex. Trundle can play both top lane, jungle, even support in a pinch. Fizz can go mid lane, he can go top lane, you can have Karma go mid lane or support. But most likely it will be kind of the generic fan of Swain top lane, Trundle jungle, Karma mid lane. Fizz mid lane rather, Karma Kai'Sa running at the bot lane duo, support and ADC. But the Ezreal, that's a little bit underwhelming for me.
Yeah, the Ezreal pickup into Kai'Sa. Sure, he has a bit of poke into the early mid game, but at the same time, with how Kai'Sa is in 8.7, she's so powerful. She got a huge amount of buffs last patch, where she pretty much has gone from when she was released in 8.5 as many people ignoring her to now you have to pick or ban her because that's how much damage she provides.
The big issue with Kai'Sa has always been, it's kind of been the Bard effect too, where you start him off, he has like a 40% win ratio because nobody knows what the heck this champion is. I mean, Reckless, right, on the release of this champion was pulling like a 57% win rate on her over like 20 to 30 matches. And it definitely is one of those champions you do have to get very used to. But even so, it still doesn't have the greatest laning phase in the world. And by picking the Ezreal, you're opting into the late game scaling. You're opting into the safe pick. And sure, if you get to a late game with a Vladimir, a Gangplank, and an Ezreal, you're probably going to win the game. But that being said, there's still not much early game pressure or priority going around here from John Hopkins.
Well, plus you're trying to get to a late game against a Kai'Sa, a Fizz, Trundle, and Swain is difficult. The mid game power that they all provide, and just Trundle as well, taking away the resistances that Skarner's going to be trying to scale up, trying to get himself a little bit of armor magic resist. Well, Trundle, not only can he stop the Predator, but he can take away any tankiness from Kerrigan on this Skarner.
Exactly, and that is going to lead to a little bit of a jungle matchup where basically Shockwave's just going to be trying to track around Kerrigan in the jungle, make sure he's never actually getting out of the way, make sure he's not running away to anyone he shouldn't be going to. And Kerrigan, is going to be basically the sole early game facilitator of this match. If you're able to lock down Swain in the top lane, get a good gank with Vladimir, you sort of can get a kill. If you find the Fizz at the right time, you're also going to be able to get a kill, but it's just the opportunities are still far and few between. Whereas on the other side, sure, Fizz not going to have the greatest shoving matchup in the level 1 to 6 against Minecraft Kid on the Vladimir, but he's still going to have so much dive potential come that level 6 marks. Watch for him to get those roaming plays off too, especially with Shockwave at his back. RMU, they have every tool they need to break this game open at the level 6 mark.
And this kind of goes back to what you were talking about before with RMU, where you can definitely tell that they have this huge infrastructure for League of Legends from the Varsity all the way down, where they definitely talk to each other. The Swain Trundle composition, a lot of people undervalue outside of the competitive play, because Swain can proc his passive off of Trundle Pillar anytime that even knocked someone up briefly.
Yeah, and that's just so quick at facilitating these fights, and it's definitely something that's needed, because outside of the Swain plus Trundle combo, the engage for RMU is very far and few between. Kaisa can jump in on the backline, but once again, she needs some sort of early engage to help her out. Fizz, he has an ultimate. You never really want to use that on as engage unless you're actually just knocking down average Xayah first member in the fight. But yeah, if Nova and Shockwave start to get behind, Army are going to have a very rough time actually facilitating these early game. Somebody dodged.
Oh no.
Wait. We were 30 minutes before Spec. Wait, what?
What just happened?
I have no idea. That didn't make sense.
I've never seen that before.
I have never seen that either. Okay, guys, we're going to throw you back on over to the intro screen while we figure out what the heck just happened. Hopefully, we'll be getting you guys some great JV action in just a moment, but stick with us. We'll be right back.
We bop and hippity hop. I'm as happy as I can be. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and hippity hop. I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. I don't care. We bop and hippity hop. I'm as happy as I can be. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and hippity hop. I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. I don't care.
Once again. Again. Once again.
Sorry about the little hiccup, guys. We're getting back in for game number 1 between Robert Morse and Johns Hopkins. I hope you guys are excited for this game as I am. We've just loaded up back onto the Rift after a little bit of a mastery issue is what I've been hearing it was.
Yeah, but we are in fact loaded on to the Rift for game number 1 of this best of 3 to see who will be making their way to Huntington Beach Finals.
Okay,
for
wait,
the Cleveland Star League JV.
I gotta stop you.
Yes.
It's Huntington.
Huntington?
Huntington.
Not Huntington.
It's not Huntington.
What have you done
Huntington.
with the T?
We threw it into the harbor. Didn't you know? Do you not know your history? Come on.
My bad for not knowing my Huntington Beach
go.
history, but either way, these two teams will be looking for that T, and for the grand prize going on through is both teams going to be basically passing each other as ships in the night. Fortunately, on the wrong
I love
sides of the map.
seeing the mayhem that can happen from some of these really early cheesy fights, but since they're on the opposite side of the map, not going to happen today.
I don't know, sometimes you do see a lot more fighting, like when they loop around and then come back if one team's actually pretty slow. You might still see some fighting, but no, it does look like, fortunately, our Morse, they'll be the first ones back out.
Now, RMU just puts down the
Wait,
ward
John
on the
Hopkins
blue
don't
buff.
even get a ward.
Yeah, that is what I was just about to say. Is John Hopkins, even though they went for that little bit of an invade play, didn't put the ward down, so not going to spot out the movement, gives RMU the upper hand. They'll spot out Kerrigan once he goes on to that blue buff.
That is certainly very interesting. They will eventually put that ward down, like as you said. So, basically knowledge going all around with where both junglers are starting. That being said, everyone's starting here on the bot side, so keep your eyes peeled for about the 3-minute and 30 gank on that top lane. But I mean, a Swain versus a Gangplank. That's not a very gankable top lane.
Well, it depends if you land a really good never move, but at the same time, not expecting to see too much action, not a lot of need or want for the ganks coming in from either the Swain or the Gangplank.
Yep, and this is, in fact, going to be the legendary Kleptomancy, both in the top lane and on the ADC roles for John Hopkins. So, and they're looking for as much scaling as they can possibly get out of this early game.
You might as well try to see if you can really ramp up that the late game a little bit quicker, get some of that nice gold. But this is why we should expect RMU to play very aggressive early on. Try to see if they can make some of these plays. The Trundle Swain matchup, a lot of synergy there. But at the moment, Nova being poked out pretty heavily by Gangplank.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of the range of Gangplank. Your Q poke is so effective. That being said, around the level 6 mark, Nova certainly starts taking that lane right back over, and especially with something like the Summonaries, you have a lot more damage on top of that, but both junglers are currently passing up towards the top side.
Looks like Shockwave wants to grab the Scuttle Crab before he made his way up top lane. Kerrigan spots him out. So with both junglers here, you might look for a little bit of party. Shockwave going in for it. Pillar to interrupt a little bit for win rate, but here comes Kerrigan. Level disadvantage in favor of John Hopkins, but look at how low they're getting win rate. One more auto. Never move doesn't connect. Gets the flash out of win rate. Kerrigan trying to turn it around. A Slide Cat in the mid lane is the one to pick up first blood instead. Kerrigan will trade it in the top lane, but here comes Shockwave with the minions to help him out. That's going to be 2 kills for RMU.
Yeah, still more fighting going on the bottom side of the map.
Lots and lots of aggression from these two teams. The round of 8, they're trying to make a statement. They want to make it out to Huntington Beach with a force.
In that last fight, Winray did a great job of playing with discipline. He didn't go for the play too early. He saved the flash until the last moment, trying to avoid the last never move from Nova Cloak. But unfortunately, Kerrigan tries to turn it just a little bit too hard. Kill goes on down. And then the mid lane as well. Already with Slide Cat getting that kill advantage in that lane before even hitting level 6. Means that level 6 pop-off is going to be even greater now.
And we gotta keep in mind, this is Fizz into Vladimir. That negates a lot of the healing effects that Vladimir normally gets into some of these skirmishes. So Minecraft Kid, not respecting that Slide Cat, can easily get the assassination even though he was only level 3.
And these are actually some great early game moves from the John Hopkins side. 2 control wards on the top portion of the map this early on in the game, whereas RMU haven't even purchased a single one. Okay, so they have purchased a single one. I haven't even purchased a second one, rather. So already starting to put a lot more priority on that top lane, which isn't too shocking given that the bot lane currently comprises of a Braum and an Ezreal.
Flycat goes pretty aggressive onto Minecraft Kid once again, trying to force him out of lane. Wants to get that level advantage with level 6 so he can try to go for the all-in potential onto this Vladimir. That was just a couple autos getting the electrocute damage, really bullying around Minecraft Kid.
Exactly, Minecraft Kid just has to start getting that scaling up, looking for the first item, looking for a lot more in the ways of just poke plus sustain in this lane. That being said, already going down so hard to a Fizz in the early game definitely means you have to play a lot more around that team fight pressure. The big AoE is already plays on both sides.
Top lane fight, never move, grabs onto win rate. There's no flash, no way to escape. Doesn't matter if you saw him with the control ward. You didn't back off quick enough, win rate.
Yeah, I mean, you can avoid one piece of CC if you're gangplank, but unfortunately, you can't avoid it all, and already you're seeing the fallacy of early game gangplank. Sure, you have the defensive abilities all you want, but Oos like that is level 6, he's down here.
He wants to look for this assassination.
Oh.
They pinpointed on the average Zaya. That's so much damage. The execute actually comes in for Sonotic, but the concussive blow stacked up onto Slycat, trying to see if he can get the kill. Playful Trickster was already used to disengage a little bit too early, so he only trades back a kill.
Yeah, but that is a huge misplay from the side of RMU. They had the priority going on into that, but ever since Slycat missed that ultimate under the tower, he missed the Chum the Waters. There's no way you're going to get out of that one positively. Good job from Sonotic, at least to trade even. He didn't die to anyone, he just died to the tower, which, once again, it's never something you go into a play saying, yeah, I want to die to this tower, unless you're getting, like, chased down, but making the aggressive play, it's not really what you want to do. But at least it turns into a 1v1 instead of a 1-for-0 going the other way around. So, either way, very sloppy play coming out of RMU, but they got their heads in the right place. They just need to execute.
Exactly, and this is where we gotta ask yourselves what kind of plays RMU can start making that would feel a little bit better using that advantage they already have. 2 kills onto Trundle, 2 kills onto Slycat. Where should we expect to see some more rotations coming out from them?
The top lane right now really feels like the pinnacle of where you want to play around for RMU, though they're still pushing pretty darn hard onto this mid lane. Some good potentials for Sonotic. Now, with the pushing lane in the bottom lane, basically guaranteed against an Ezreal, he can push out the lane, roam him up, maybe try to make a play on a Minecraft Kid, or even so, 3-man play right now from RMU onto this top lane, a shutdown win rate as hard as you physically can. You take out their core late game scaler and potentially even force a tower.
Emote Plague was used by Minecraft Kid onto Slycat in this mid lane. Here comes Shockwave, trying to see if they can get onto the pool, onto the Vladimir. Here comes the Sanguine Pool, but now right into the Chum the Waters with the flash from Shockwave. Not sure if it was necessary, but he still gets a killing spree.
Yeah, certainly maybe not the most necessary flash in the world, but in the end it gets the job done, and now top lane.
Top lane, Demonic Ascension was popped, but here comes the Cannon Barrage, not landing the Eye of the Empire, but going for more with Shockwave to help solidify the kill for Nova.
6 kills from RMU. They might not have had the cleanest early game in the world, but this is that RMU playmaking, shot calling, and team coordination that has kept them on top of the collegiate scene for quite some time.
Thing is, we gotta see them continue to use this very well. Make sure to stay very organized as Johns Hopkins goes pretty aggressive in the bot lane, wanting to get on a Sonotic, noticing that they had the level advantage. The Fissure and True Shot Barrage both burned by the bot lane of Johns Hopkins, connecting onto nobody.
And with that, we can start taking a look at these lanes, especially the bottom lane, 68 to 51 CS. Not the most shocking differential in the world, given the very defensive lane still being taken up by John Hopkins. Still a good amount of scaling opportunity, a lot of scaling potential damage coming on out of them in the later stages of the game, but still so much more to get there. But every other lane is just going in favor for RMU.
And you even can see that being translated into these items. The Proto Belt already completed by Slycat. Even bot lane. It's a BF sword compared to a pickaxe and Tear of the Goddess, so of course, average Zaya wants to scale up a little bit more, get some more mana. You're losing out a little bit of the damage in the trades.
Exactly, and that's always a trade-off you have to make from Ezreal. You got to give something up to have the mobility of that arcane shift, and fortunately, it is a lot of that straight-up damage. Gonna be very interested to see if whether AK-47 is gonna be able to make use of the Zaya in the late game. Because the biggest benefit you get from having a Zaya, you get from having a Kaisa rather, not the Zaya, the Kaisa, is that backline dive potential. But who's there really to dive?
Will be something that'll have to be seen later on in the game, but the jump the water has connected onto Kerrigan. Slycat wants to go for the flash instead of going for the playful trickster just to secure the kill. Taking down this partner once again, and the dive is real. Demonic Ascension pop, no way to escape for win rate, and the double kill, plus probably the tower going over for RMU.
And this is just symptomatic of that draft. John Hopkins picked 0 lanes with early game priority, and the one lane that was close, the mid lane, went down early. Minecraft was not able to stack up to Slycat despite having the ignite in the laning phase. He even went for electrocute instead of something like a spell book rather. This man wanted to win the lane. It hasn't panned out, and now RMU are completely free to make each and every play that they so desire.
That electrocute for Vladimir probably going to end up biting him pretty hard in the butt later on. Going with Ignite early as well for Minecraft Kid means that he can't swap out, can't go for the possible 1-3-1 composition that you sometimes have when you draft a Vladimir, plus with the Gangplank. So it is a nice trade of them trying to get this tower in the bot lane, so at least the gold isn't being hemorrhaged too much over to RMU.
It's still keeping something left in the system, but right now John Hopkins needs to be scaling so much harder. Win rate's already 0-3-0 in the top lane, 0-1 and 1 on ADC, 4 average. Probably the closest person to the curve, and then Minecraft Kid also a significant amount behind, but Sonotic might be looking to stomp a few backs here.
Smart move coming out of Sonotic, trying to make sure to keep average Zaya in this lane as much as possible, especially before a possible lane swap can come in. You gotta be careful he's not taking too much damage. Jumping on to alert, exhaust was used. The Vision of Empire swings in the area. Possibility for another dive. Good rotation coming in from Minecraft Kid and Kerrigan in the backline to make sure that that's not going to be a possibility.
Yeah, look at this long rotation coming out from Slycat. He's got to fight his way out of this one.
He does, and they are trying to see if they can go for something really deep. They want to go onto the backline, but they lose Sonotic pretty quickly. Zaya is taken out with Braum as well. TP completed by Winrate. Slycat nowhere to run, so it will be 2 kills for 2 at the end of the day, but that was a 4v5 in favor of Johns Hopkins. They still only come out even.
Honestly, that is exactly what you want if you're John Hopkins. You are there to deny the plays coming out from RMU and deny the extra towers. The biggest issue with that fight was when he put Shockwave in the top lane and he's unable to stop the backs of Winrate, or at least stop the teleport of Winrate. Because there is no way that that play goes where you're going to be able to successfully get the tower. You're spending so much by bringing every single member down to that bot lane, you got to walk away with something.
Yeah, and he doesn't even get the push from Shockwave. Doesn't even try to get on to the tier 2 in the top lane to try to at least alleviate a little bit of the pressure and force Johns Hopkins to go onto the top side of the map. Instead, he gets it kind of slightly pushing. They forfeit this Cloud Drake, forfeit pressure in mid, and a lot of damage as well.
And now it's still just going to be RMU going back to that cycle. They are still 2.5k ahead. Still a very healthy lead for this point in the game. But they also need to keep this snowball rolling because, once again, eventually, Winray, Minecraft Kid, and Average Zaya should be able to out-teamfight a lot of these skirmishers in AK-47 and Slycat, but also the big beefcake himself, Swain in the top lane.
We're looking to see if he can get a flank onto Sonotic and Leopard. Zaya in the area as well, but I don't think they realize that Shockwave is right behind. This is going to be a 3 versus 3 teleport being channeled. Flashes coming in from Johns Hopkins. Running away, Slycat does opt to finish the TP. Help out, shove this wave. Not going to be able to get too much except for a little bit of damage in mid.
Unfortunately, that was a reactionary play coming out from RMU, so they have to burn the teleport instead of just having Slycat walk over, and at the end of the day, they go even. Still, benefiting John Hopkins. As long as RMU isn't winning a fight by at least 2 kills or a tower at the end, they're still very happy, but the win rate's not going to be happy after that.
Yeah, you talk about not losing any kills. Well, win rate unfortunately gets caught out by the bait. Taken down, and without win rate on the side lane to try to go for a push, it seems that RMU are going to try to take down this tier 1 in bot.
And now, without the Gangplank, it is within the realm of possibilities that this bot lane tower will be going down. RMU, they've got the push with Slycat. He has the Sheen built already, and yeah, that's just a very easy take. Thankfully, though, only the T1s are falling so far from John Hopkins. This is still a manageable situation. You just need to stop the future plays.
Right now, for Johns Hopkins, they found themselves not too far behind, at least in terms of items. The Manamune has been completed by Average Zaya, starting to scale that up, as well as having Sheen compared to Leopard, who's still only sitting on some components. Gonna try to rush it, looks like an Essence Reaper on Kaisa. A lot of times we see the Death Dance being the normal first item for her.
You see a lot of different options. Normally you do get a Rage Blade towards the front. You also get an Essence Reaver towards the back, depending on the style. Essence Reaver is much better for those elongated fights because you can get more Arcane Barrages off with your Q. You just have more options to nuke down a front line, but already another fight.
A lot of fight on it to Winrate, trying to punish the Gangplank. Dragged back with Never Move, Demonic Ascension. Already Trundle has been gone. Here comes the Ignite in from Minecraft Kid, but it's not denying the fight. Coming in, the Shark not going to be in the water to land on Kerrigan, but the hunt continues. No damage from the explosion from the Nova, as Slycat doesn't do enough damage to finish off the kills onto Minecraft Kid. Meanwhile, Johns Hopkins look like they're going to be able to trade all that aggression for a lot of damage in mid.
The Chum the Water is missing repeatedly is starting to be a bit of an issue from Robert Morris, because that's twice in a row now where if that Chum the Water lands coming out of Slycat, they easily get at least 1 to 2 more kills plus potential objectives. But it's now just that 1 to 2 extra steps that they aren't taking that's still giving John Hopkins time to come back in this game. That being said, though, still solidly in advantage. Robert Morris are still going to be able to make basically any play that they want to.
Still, it is a worrying trend. Gotta keep in mind a lot of that pick potential that comes in with a Fizz where he wants to assassinate the backline, take someone out of the fight, and if he's not doing his job, he's pretty much going to be the fish in the water that's easily snacked on by the rest of Johns Hopkins. Want to start seeing if they can start playing a little bit more around their pick potential from RMU, because as the game scales on, Johns Hopkins are going to feel very empowered, even with all the pressure that was put onto Winrate early on.
Certainly, Winrate is still feeling the effects of that. He's still the nearly 30 CS down. He's still quite a bit down just when you look at the 4 death CS, but he is still scaling. The more important member for me, though, has to be Average Zaya. He is still going for an incredibly aggressive build, opting for the Triforce, it looks like, instead of the Iceborne Gauntlet. More damage, less defensive. Not the worst thing in the world when you do have 2 tanks in front of you, especially something like a Braum to maybe give you that a little bit of extra defensiveness. But that does mean the battle of Average Zaya versus AK-47 in these teamfights becomes a lot more impactful.
Fish here was burned by Alert, doesn't connect on the very speedy Sonotic without that disengage and engage tool from Braum. RMU look like they want to put a lot of pressure back on to Johns Hopkins, cutting off Alert. Nothing solidified for either team just yet.
Winrate's still pushing in the top lane, and nobody on the side from RMU is ready yet to respond to this pressure. And this is a tower going on over. That'll even up the tower game, bring the gold game close, but still in favor for RMU.
Only slightly. Even though the vision control is there for RMU, they've gotten control over the map. They're starting to lose out in these side waves, and that's where Gangplank is going to be very powerful, especially if left unanswered. Can keep pushing up if he really wants to.
Yeah, but the big thing is that there's absolutely no vision between the mid lane and bottom lane in RMU's jungle. And now Herald being popped down in that mid lane 19 seconds before Infernal Drake's left on the board. RMU, they still have a lot of potential for this push.
Tower's gonna fall easily with the Rift Herald to help out. Seems that RMU wanted to take down the tower so they can easily rotate for the dragon, get themselves this Infernal that just spawned up. That's going to really help them out. They want to look for these fights. They want to look for the skirmishes. You got to be careful with all 5 members towards the bot side for Johns Hopkins. They can get themselves kicked out.
Jumping in.
Flash coming in. No Chum the Water's landing on anybody, but a lot of damage coming onto Alert. He had to flash back. Kerrigan is the first victim alongside the Braum. Flash coming in from Nova into the backline, trying to take out Gangplank. It seems the carries are still alive for John Hopkins almost finishing off Leopard. He survives with a sliver of health. All in all, it will be in favor of RMU. Despite losing Sly Cat, they got themselves the Infernal and a couple kills.
Yeah, Sly Cat once again does miss the Chum the Waters and very sloppy fighting all around from both sides, but it just comes down to items. Items completed for Sly Cat and AK-47 Leopard definitely help out against Average Zai, who still hasn't completed the Triforce just yet, and even the top lane Ro8 just finishing up the last of his lethality just now. So this game still is getting closer and closer by the minute, and now it's going to come down a lot more to execution because those item spikes that we just saw a few seconds ago, they don't exist anymore.
Exactly. The gold has still been hovering around 2,000 for the past 5 minutes. John Hopkins have been doing a great job installing out this game. As long as they keep getting these items, they keep scaling up, keep the gold flowing in, they're going to be very happy.
The problem is the usefulness on this Fizz for Sly Cat is going to get worse and worse as this game goes on. He's been missing so many Chum the Waters and so many clutch plays that it's just giving more and more time for the backline carries, for the shielders coming out from John Hopkins to defend against that. There is still so much power behind Sly Cat right now, but he finally needs to make one of these plays work. And if one of these plays do work, that's a Baron buff. That could even be an inhibitor right there.
Exactly, and that could be where things are getting a little bit dicey. No more tier 1 stands for either team. A lot of pressure trying to be put onto these inners, trying to take out
AK-47.
If you take out Kaisa, you take out a huge amount of damage. Ro8 understands this. He's empowered. He's got the damage parlay. He's gonna assassinate Leopard. Shockwave a little bit too late to the party. I don't think you can fight with Gangplank. You might feel that you have the Subjugate to lay down a little bit of strength, but look at the trades coming in. Ro8 doing a great job even getting the redemption. He has been zoning so many people. That is 3 members in the bottom side of the map to try to deal with him. John Hopkins are pushing in the mid lane, so they're going to be able to return something and get a little bit. But look at the damage coming in from Ro8. If you try to turn it around, he will finally die, but his team takes down to the tower in mid.
Yeah, he buys enough time with that one death, trades 1 for 1 in the kill department while still getting that mid tower, and that mid tower does definitely open up this Baron buff for John Hopkins if they can get one more play going right. And now the gold lead has shrunk now to 1.3k in favor for the RMU squad. They've been needing to make a play for the last 12 minutes. Now they really need it. TP comes in.
It's going to be the Baron play. They want to go for this.
They're in a vision
from John Hopkins. There's no way they are going to get here in time unless a miracle happens. TP is going to be up from win rate. He doesn't have Cannon Barrage just yet. He can try to join into this fight, but even with Minecraft in the area, I don't think he wants to go over that wall. Baron was taken by RMU.
That was an incredibly greedy back coming up from John Hopkins, and RMU, they execute perfectly. They may not have the macro, they might not have the micro at the moment to really finish off some of these fights, but they for sure have the macro.
This puts a lot of the driving force back behind RMU. They're slipping slowly but surely to John Hopkins. John Hopkins are gonna have to play around this Gangplank a lot more now that the Baron has gone over. We gotta expect that RMU have to get control of the vision that they lost before that Baron play.
Look just at all of this jungle pressure coming out from John Hopkins right now. Top, and basically the north, east, and southern jungles on this map are completely controlled by John Hopkins. You can see this starting to come out a little bit in the vision score. Certainly Synoptic's definitely been pulling his weight, but a great surge of vision right there means that RMU basically have to spend at least half this Baron buff setting up these plays. And with Fizz being the main carry on the board right now, he benefits from these chaotic situations where you can slip in behind people and find the flank plays when the other enemy team's not expecting that. But unfortunately, to do that, you have to control the vision game. That's just not happening right now.
RMU have set up a 1-3-1 split push composition. Gangplank in the mid lane as well. Not even going to try to deny anything coming in from Sly Cat or Nova Cloak. Instead, wanting to see if he can clear out this mid wave, try to help out, but they're sacrificing so much pressure around the other side of the map. Now, Nova Cloak's gotta be careful. Demonic Ascension has been popped, but he only had 1 soul.
You
gotta
just
imagine
find time.
RMU are gonna be able to take down 2 towers while they focus so much onto this lane. Redemption to keep him alive as well. Bot lane falls, mid lane gonna follow suit just now. That was a little bit of a ambitious play coming in from Johns Hopkins, hoping to assassinate that Swain.
And that's going to really balloon this gold lead right now for RMU. They finally busted out to something that's more than just 2K, currently sitting on the 4.7K gold advantage. Probably a little bit more once this top lane tower goes down as well, but this is the hardest thing in the game to get done, breaking open the inhibitor towers. If RMU are able to break open these, there's not much left for John Hopkins, but there's engage.
Why Kerrigan wants to go so hard. He picked off Kaisa, but that's going to be the knock-up that finally finished him off. Lots of damage into the backline. They take out Vlad. They take out Skarner. Gonna try to see if they can take out Gangplank as well. He's barely holding on to his life. Dearly trying to see if he can escape. 2 kills were picked up. Sure, it was traded for Leopard, but that's going to be a pretty big play from Johns Hopkins, taking out the one that can take down the towers the quickest.
And yeah, they do give over a little bit more gold than they would have wanted to with that last Baron and with that last kill fight going on over. But they do hold on to the inhibitors, and as long as they can keep that control for the rest of this Baron buff, they should be in pretty good shape. And still, even more scaling coming up from win rate, more scaling coming up from Average Zion, more scaling coming up from Minecraft Kid. So, they're still looking to get bigger and bigger.
That's the problem, is you can only get so big before the game ends, if it ends before you're able to finish off a lot of these items. Well, the Triforce finally has been completed by Average Zaya. Look over towards Leopard. Essence Reaper with Runon's Hurricane being the second item coming in from this Kaisa.
Yeah, it's certainly a more standard team fight-esque build. So there are really 2 ways you can go with Kaisa. You can put a lot more damage on your Q, look to take down the tanks first and then go for the backline. Or you could go for the Death Dance first into just a backline dive the entire time. The problem for Leopard is that right now, there's not really a backline target you can reliably dive. Average Zaya is Ezreal, can Arcane Shift away during a fight, plus has a Braum on his back. Minecraft Kid can Sanguine Pool. And then Winray is still a pretty big gang plank, but it looks like a little bit more pushing coming out here. Either way, Leopard is very happy letting Slycat take the backline duty, whereas he's more worried about just knocking down Minecraft on the front side.
Yeah, but so I think it's also a little bit, we have to talk about Cat in the bag, Slycat. Sitting 3.5 items right now.
Oh yeah.
Full item over Minecraft Kid at this point. And look at the whole build for everyone on Johns Hopkins. The only real magic resist is coming out from the Zeke's Convergence, the Hex Drinker. They're not denying the assassination potential from Fizz, even though you have Righteous Glory.
Oh, and looks like they might be finding their next target.
They want to take out Kieran. Look at that. That's what I was talking about. The damage coming in. They go for the jump. The Void spotting on to Alert, but it's only to get them closer to Average Zaya. Finally, Braum is gone. Minecraft Kid into the front line.
Win rate.
But this could be the damage that they need onto Vladimir as he's giving a double kill to Fizz with RMU right at death's door, trying to knock into the base of Johns Hopkins. Win rate's gonna have to pull out a hero play. There are a couple of few low health bars for RMU, but I don't know if he can do this alone.
As a 5-man squad, John Hopkins have a chance to defend against Slycat, but as small as they were just that last fight with RMU doing an absolutely phenomenal job picking off members before they can group together, there's just no defense.
The tower still is alive for them. They haven't been able to crack open the base just yet. A lot of low health
Fast
bars.
Skarner.
They're taking up the towers for too long. Pillar will deny Skarner his way into the battle.
Yeah, good disengage as still John Hopkins holds on to what is most important in this game, and it's that inhibitor line. It looks like we're starting to the point where John Hopkins, with win rate, can just completely rip apart that backline. If they can get that 5-man nice defensive front, use 1-2-3 Alert or a Kerrigan to soak up Slycat's initial engage, they can fight back, but they need that perfect fight going for them, deny away that early engage, use win rate to really hit everyone at the same time, and then Minecraft Kid and Average Zaya have to come and clean up. Fortunately, when you're this far down in the hole, if one part of that doesn't go right, Army just win the game.
Well, I'm looking over to Slycat. He just finished the death cap. He is going to have so much damage, sitting at about, what is that? 427 AP.
He has a lot of AP.
Yes. he
A
does.
lot of AP.
He's already been doing a lot of damage in the backline with still no real terms of magic resist coming in from anybody on Johns Hopkins. He is going to be having a field day when trying to rip apart the members.
And right now you do have both top laners with TP on the bottom side of the map, but Baronbuff coming up in just 6. Keep your eyes on Slycat because there are a lot of very funky things you can do with the Fizz at this point. He does look like he is going to be looking for some backline access, but also Novaclope, he's looking for a fight too.
Wants to go really aggressive onto win rate. Notices that there's no flash. Wants his team to be able to go into the Baron pit. Fissure has been popped. Here's the exhaust onto Slycat with a lot of damage on to Minecraft Kid. The redemption will keep him alive for a little bit longer, but not going to help Minecraft Kid in the slightest. With the assassination onto Vladimir, seems that the rest of RMU can start pushing up even further, trying to see if they can get the vision control so they can turn onto the Baron.
Yeah, Slycat ulti doesn't quite find its mark, but in the end, it just doesn't matter. He has so much damage on the backside, but now Baronbuff will be started. Win rate, though, this could be the perfect time for him to start popping off.
It is a 4v5, so it is a little bit of a disadvantageous situation that Johns Hopkins finds himself at with 25% onto the Baron. Flash is still there for Kiergan. He could be the hero. He could try to flash over the wall. He wants to get over there, but they're only going to get the shutdown.
They can take a fight.
Slycat. This is the fight. This is the re-engage coming in. Novaclope gets caught out. Average Zaya. He is gone, blown up so quickly. These tanky frontline members of RMU absorbing all of the damage. Win rate cannot even fight with Leopard in the backline, and everyone is gone. Minecraft Kid finally respawns only to see that the enemy's coming for him.
Yeah, and RMU, they're already making for this base. Baronbuff available. No backup available for Minecraft Kid before 25 seconds. That could just be game number 1.
Base has been cracked open by RMU. They're continuing this push. They're continuing the siege. They want to take game 1.
14 seconds.
31 minutes into the game, but they feel confident that they can finally finish this off. They finally got the snowball going. They don't have Slycat. They have the damage. Finally, that's the last Nexus Taylor going down. Slycat about to join into the fight. The exhaust used on the Minecraft Kid. Has to use the same.
One more.
The rest of the members come in for John Hopkins a little bit too late. Game number 1 goes over to Robert Morris.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a back and forth, but RMU, right from the start of this match, just took over every single lane, especially mid lane with Slycat, and they just kept the plays rolling. A little bit sketchy around like that 22-minute mark, but right when they got that amazing Baron, it was just over. John Hopkins didn't have an answer anymore.
That was the problem coming in from Johns Hopkins. They were more reactive that entire game than they were proactive. The vision, we saw them have great vision control after the Baron had already gone over to RMU. We saw them have great plays coming in from Gangplank after he had gone down 0-4. A lot of this was more them saying, hey, maybe this is where we should put a little bit of our priority after they had already ceded so much control to Robert Morris.
Yeah, that's certainly true, and I got the idea for the Hopkins comp. Wasn't the biggest fan of putting the Ezreal in the lane against the Kai'Sa. You can take advantage of the Kai'Sa lane pretty aggressively with both the Caitlyn pick, which was still on the board, the Jhin pick, which was still on the board, even the Ashe if you want to go that far out, or the Varus, something like that, but they just don't choose any of those, go for a little bit more mid-game scaling. They weren't really there to support the Gangplank going late, and no one got big enough to deal with the massive threat that RMU had already accumulated. I want to see some more early game priority. I want to see them doing something to shut down all of this RMU playmaking, because it is insane.
Yeah, but we're going to have to find out in just a little bit return, because we got to throw it over to a break, give the teams a little bit of time to relax as we get ready for game 2 between Robert Morris and between Johns Hopkins, so don't go anywhere.
I get misty just holding